What is up, YouTubers? So I'm finally bringing you the Canon G7X Mark II review, and I was going to do it based on just reviewing the camera, but I thought, you know, it might be a lot better if I could give you some context to compare it against, and so I'm going to compare it against my iPhone 7 Plus. You know, I think all of us are pretty familiar with how it is to utilize our phones for video. By the way, this is mainly going to focus, though, on the video functionality of these two devices and how they would compare. Also, I'm not going to be using any external mics. So to start off, one of the drawbacks with this camera is that you don't have an external mic option. And that is one thing that's kind of frustrating. So that's why I'm just going to use the internal mic, because on the iPhone, you can, even though it doesn't have a 3.5mm jack, you can plug in through, you know, a dongle, an external mic, and get better audio quality, which it blows me away that for as much as this camera is, it doesn't have that functionality. I would say at the top of the list, my biggest frustration with this camera is that mic functionality and the fact that it does seem like the mic was kind of an afterthought, being that when I show you an example of this, you're going to hear it picks up the sound of the autofocus, and there's this slight clicking noise, and it drives me batty now that I can hear it. So that is just right. Let's start there. That is my number one gripe about this particular camera, because I love so many things about this, although there's a couple other things that are on the negative side, but that is the biggest one. Now, as you can see, I've got my little fuzzies up here to try and make the mics that are on board have better sound quality in, you know, wind and that type of thing. And I'll put some links for this kind of stuff below in case you guys would like to add that to your cameras. Let's talk about why I bought this camera. Now, primarily, I was doing all my videos on my iPhone. I love my iPhone. It's so simplistic, it's compact, really easy to use, great quality. But I can't see myself right now. Like when I'm filming this, I'm using the back camera and I can't see the screen. So that makes it kind of frustrating because you're trying to get that better quality by using the back facing camera. And one of the biggest reasons I bought this is because you've got this and it's all touchscreen. Actually, let me turn this on here so you guys can see. But you can touch, you know, like I can focus on the iPhone filming. I can focus on different parts of the screen. And that's such a cool feature about this particular camera. Also, the screen is able to have a lot of motion and a lot of ability to switch angles for looking at the screen and again, tapping anywhere on there to focus. So this is one of the biggest reasons that I bought this camera, was just that it's got this flexibility with this screen and being able to really at a glance see what it is that you're filming and change the focus point. So it's one of the coolest things about this particular camera. Some of the other key features that I really appreciate about this is the fact that it is so compact, similar to my iPhone. Again, I was coming from the iPhone. I wanted something that was really accessible. I have a full-size DSLR. I don't really like carrying it around. It's bulky, it's big. I love the size of this. It fits very easily in my hand. It's very easy to put in a bag or, you know, on your hip. And it's just really portable. Another thing I like about this is that it comes with a 1.8 to 2.8 aperture, so it's fairly fast. It's going to be great in low light. As far as batteries go, I will let you know that the battery life is not phenomenal. I would definitely get a second battery for this, so that you can at least pretty much last through the day. One battery is not going to cut it if you're using it quite a bit through the day. It's going to go dead on you, which always sucks. Great, but let's talk about a few of the other things that could use improvement, I would say. And that is the frames per second. This will do 60 frames per second at 1080, but it doesn't offer anything past that, not 120 or 240, like I even have on my iPhone. Also, there's no 4K option. And at this point in time, with where technology is, I really feel like Canon should incorporate that into a camera like this at a price point, you know, of where it's at, like around $700, especially given that my iPhone has that ability. But yeah, that should be available, I feel. All right, let's switch. Now let's cover the iPhone 7 Plus. I keep on wanting to call this S Plus, but it's Plus. We're now filming on the Canon. Can you hear the click? You should be able to hear the click. I can't hear the click from here, but I'm thinking you're hearing the click. Anyways, we've covered that, but let's cover this. So this, you know, you have to hand it to Apple. This is one of the areas that they definitely excel. Their camera is just awesome. It's one of the biggest reasons that I keep going back to the iPhone, is because the camera quality, the video quality is just excellent. And so let's kind of break it down. Number one, you've got these two lenses. I never thought I would use the two lenses as much as I do, but it is really become a nice feature to have access to, that you have a zoom. So the zoom is 2 times. So as I was talking about with, you know, breaking down the Canon, this does have the option for 120 frames per second at 1080, and then at 720 you can do 240 frames per second. Now when it comes to 4K, you have the availability of doing 30 frames per second. Again, this has optical stabilization, just like the Canon does. That is one feature that, you know, I've just really come to rely on, because it just really smooths things out. And it's just nice that you don't have to have some sort of external device to add some sort of stabilization to your video. It does have a 1.8 to 2.8 aperture, just like the Canon. So again, very fast and going to be great for low light situations where you need a bigger aperture. I think that kind of breaks it down. At this point, I'm going to build a little device that makes it so I can put both of these on at the same time and film the same thing, so that you guys can get a sense of how they both do when it comes to focus and lighting and all that good stuff. So I'm going to build that now. Right, I've got these two cameras mounted. It's not the most fancy mounting. I'm taking in different rooms here, and this room has no lights on. It's just the natural sunlight coming in. I can't see what the iPhone looks like at the moment, but I can tell the Canon's doing really, really well. And I'm gonna go into my office. Please excuse the mess. I'm gonna go in there where there's no lights on. There's not really any light coming in, and then that way you can get a sense of going into a really, really dark room, how well they do. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're gonna go through the house here. And also you should be able to get an idea of the image stabilization. And so now we're in my office here. Looks like the Canon's having a hard time focusing on me. Again, I can't see what the iPhone's doing, but yeah, it is kind of interesting that the Canon's kind of struggling. I clicked on the screen and it seems to actually now be focusing on me. Hopefully the iPhone's keeping up, but now I think it helped that I actually have the light in the background. It's interesting because when I look at this on screen on the Canon, that's a lot more lit up than it actually is. So I kind of took a look at the iPhone. It looks like it's doing fairly well, but it's hard to tell because I can't see what it looks like when it's on my face. But yeah, this room's really dark, and at least for the Canon, I can say it does a really, really good job in low light. It's one of the things that really impresses me about that camera. By the way, these are both shooting at 60 frames per second, so FYI on that, you know, they're both set at auto. And now we're going back into the light. Looks like I'm a little blown out on the Canon. Now to get a better sense of how this does in different lighting conditions, I'm gonna go towards the window for the backyard here, and as it gets brighter, you should be able to see how they both adjust to that. Then also, I'm gonna switch from focusing on me to focusing on the background. That's one of the big things with these cameras, is how quickly can they focus on, you know, one subject compared to another. So I'm gonna switch from me to the background, and then back to me. That should give you somewhat of an example, but I'm gonna give you another one outside here. So let's go outside. It's a little overcast today, not too bright out. Now, I did an example inside of how well the cameras do when it comes to adjusting from focusing on, for example, me to the background. I wanna do another one outside. So we're focused on me. I'm gonna go ahead and focus on the background, and then back over to me. And that should give us an idea as to how well these perform. That's always one of the biggest things, I think, when trying to find a camera solution, is, you know, how well they do with focus. But that should give you an idea. One more example of me coming in from where it's pretty bright to the house where we've got no lights on, and it's just it's just being lit by the ambient light outside. So that's how long it took to adjust. And yeah, I think that should do the trick for giving us an idea on how well these perform. I hope that this video has helped you guys figure out whether the G7X is for you or not, and whether it's worth the money or not. You can definitely see that it does really, really well in low light situations, but it's also got its challenges. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are, and also if I've missed something that you guys are particularly curious about or trying to figure out, please leave any comments or questions below per usual. By the way, I've got some Vegas content coming. So if you're a fan of Vegas, this may be a good video for you. Also, Edelkrone slider content coming. They're expensive suckers and way overpriced, but I'm hoping it's going to be a cool device, so that will be coming soon too. But yeah, hit subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and again, thank you guys for watching. I will see you soon on the next one.